Welcome back to my channel. I am a human Justicar, and today's video is a very special, long-awaited video. I'll be sharing my favorites of your guys' theories. This video has been in the works for a while, and I'm so excited to finally be posting it. My comment section is always full of amazing observations and tons of original theories, so today is all about your guys' ideas. So grab a warm drink, find a cozy spot, and let's jump into them together. DQDINH9426 comments, is Radagon being controlled by the Elden Beast? This is a theory that's floated around in the community for a while, that Radagon is being puppeteered by the Elden Beast during his boss battle. And while the game doesn't outright say that, I think it's pretty implied. And that's why I love this theory. It's a fantastic observation on some subtleties, and it really goes in line with the idea of control and order. Puppets exist in the game already, in different forms, with some actually starting off as people before being turned into a puppet, and then there's also the marionette soldiers. A marionette is a puppet who is being operated by strings. It's where we get the common phrase, "Who's really pulling the strings?" It often implies manipulation or that someone or something is really in control behind the scenes. The marionette soldiers also don armor that's arranged in a lattice, very similar to the crosshatch associated with Radagon. Some in the community have talked about Radagon's moveset, mannerisms, and even his center of gravity being kind of off and strange. He's also able to hover over the player before crashing down to attack. What's even weirder is that it almost appears like the hammer is what's lifting him off of the ground. This move is called Gold Breaker. It's called the heroic Radagon's signature attack. Radagon also glides across the arena at a few points, propelling forward as if the hammer is pulling him. When he does use his feet, the way Radagon walks is very slow and rigid and just not lifelike at all. Unlike Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, who is very much alive during his boss battle. Upon Radagon's defeat, the black water-like substance seeps out of his body, and from it, the Elden Beast emerges, but not before dipping him into it and then pulling his corpse back out as a sword. Another hint at Radagon merely being a weapon for the Elden Beast to wield. For a doll, the only thing that matters is that it does not break. Were Messmer and R'Lana married? This actually comes from two comments that mentioned the same idea. Black Moon, BLK_MN, and Inukuji N2N4 both refer to this idea that Messmer and R'Lana were married in the lore. The only place I could find reference towards this mistranslation of the word chambermaid to bridesmaid was a tweet by Nozaki on X, but I'm sure there's more information out there that I missed. Their claim is that Moonrathil, the Carian knight in Castle Ensis, is described using a Japanese word which translates to bridesmaid, not chambermaid. If that's the case, then it actually lends to this theory that R'Lana and Messmer are in fact married. If you haven't seen my R'Lana video, you should definitely go watch it after this one. Personally, I really enjoy this line of thinking because it expands upon the lost Carian princess, which, as you guys know, is a topic that I am obsessed with, so I love this theory. And there are some really strong hints at this being true in the DLC. For instance, Mesmer's gauntlets feature a single ring, a very unique design for gauntlets in the Lands Between. Not only that, but we also find the Carian thrusting shield not in Castle Ensis with R'hllana, but in the Shadow Keep. So we know R'hllana left her shield with Mesmer. Elden Ring already has a few political marriages with Queen Marika and Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, and Rennala and Radagon. So it's not a huge stretch to think that these two could be married. It also goes in line with George R. Martin's works, aka Game of Thrones, which is chock full of political marriages. Some people in the lore community and on Reddit really dislike this theory, and they are really against the idea that R'hllana and Mesmer may have had feelings for each other at all, which I get and I understand. That's totally fine if you have that opinion, but I really think that this theory speaks to the Carian sister well. It goes in line with Rennala's story and it kind of ties R'hllana to her sister. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Zach Doom comments, removing the rune of death froze time, making the lands between time. Now, more specifically, Zach commented that they feel like time equals death, and that in order not to die, Marika had to take the rune of death out so that time stands still. I personally love this theory. I think it's brilliant, and I've thought about this same exact idea for a really long time, but I never really had a video to bring it up in, so I'm really glad to be able to talk about this here with you guys. Time equals death, and this is true for the real world. Time in our world cannot be stopped, paused, or rewound. Time is continuous, and as it goes on, it brings with it both death and new life. But in the lands between, death has stopped due to the removal of the rune of death. Removing the rune of death may have stopped the movement of time. Although there is a day and night cycle, we could also chalk that up to the moon and the sun being still present in the world, so they still have their cycles around us. It could also explain why a timeline is really hard to nail down for the story of Elden Ring, because time doesn't move the same in the lands between. And then we look at an environment like Caelid. The landscape and its inhabitants forever changed because of the Scarlet Rot. Scarlet Rot is known as the rot that begets life. It's almost as if the outer gods of the game know that time has stopped and are attempting to restart it through other means. I love this theory, but I really want to know what you guys think about it, and if you think I should make a full video talking about the way time potentially works in the lands between. Kyle Harrison 713 comments, is Dragon Lord Placidusax a Hydra? What the heck is he? Believe it or not, I actually cut out an entire section about Placidusax's appearance from my Bale video. I went into painstaking detail over the differences between drakes and ancient dragons in that video, but Placidusax is, much like Bale, an anomaly. Unlike Bale, Placidusax had 4, if not 5 heads, with only 2 surviving his battle with Bale. His neck looks very serpentine in nature, long and slender and disproportional to the rest of his body. And speaking of his body, it looks like a jumbled mess. Kyle mentions the Hydra, a mythological creature featured in Greek mythologies. I do see the inspiration and the similarities between the two, but I also want to make note of the differences. From the story aspect, they don't really have a whole lot in common, but from the visual aspect, I 100% think that it's possible the design of Placidusax was inspired by the Hydra. It's definitely an interesting theory, and I've actually thought about talking about Placidusax more in his own full dedicated video. So let me know if you guys would like to hear about that in a separate video. Thank you so much for commenting. Now, this is not a standalone theory. This is a comment in reference to my Grace is Alive video. And it goes in line with my conclusion that the influence of the gods lives within our own very eyes. Carl-VX9WS mentions that Miquella's needle must be inserted. It's an honorable mention here because I can't believe I missed this when I made that video. Wow, I feel so shocked. So I'm so glad that Carl mentioned this. It's so underrated. And I also think that it might lend to some newer revelations that we have about Miquella from the DLC. Miquella's needle is made of unalloyed gold and was crafted to ward away the meddling of outer gods. You guys all know this. The unalloyed gold needle is what Melania and Millicent both use to stop the progression of their scarlet rot. Miquella's needle, however, does more than that. It says it is capable of subduing the flame of frenzy if inherited, allowing the user to cheat fate. While I couldn't find any actual text or dialogue that outright states that the needle must be inserted into your eye, I searched through my old game footage and found what I was looking for. After inheriting the frenzied flame, the Tarnished kneels down in the Dragon Lord's arena and places their hand up to their face. The Haligtree sigil appears as a flash of white light emits from our hand, covering our eyes. And then, in an instant, it is over. Fate has been cheated. You can see the influence of the frenzied flame gone from our eyes. I believe this confirms it. The influence of the outer gods lurks in our eyes, it controls our very fate, and Miquella's needle must be inserted into the eye to sever that connection. I also feel like this is a really great metaphor for Miquella's entire journey in the DLC. Lita tells us that her peers would have gone to blows under any other circumstances, but it is Miquella's charm that allows them to work together. And after his charm is broken, they very quickly turn on you or each other. To have peace amongst his followers, he must control them. And to save us from the meddling of outer gods, he must blind us. I know the needle doesn't outwardly say that it blinds you, but I think that this is a really, really cool aspect to this theory. But what do you guys think? Again, thank you, Carl. It's really awesome comments, super underrated. I'm so glad that you pointed this out because I didn't even think to go back to my old footage while making that video. So this was a really awesome catch. And that's it for my video. This will more than likely be my last video of 2024, so I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. I'm so excited for the new year and to make many, many new videos for all of you. Thank you all so much for being a wonderful community, for sharing with me your thoughts and opinions in my comment section. I love going through and reading your guys' opinions and your guys' theories. I think they're so good. And this whole video was just to celebrate you guys. So thank you so much for supporting my channel. And as always, I can't wait to talk to you all in the next one. Bye!